Hello and welcome to this week's Big Debate. I'm your host Alex Fenn and I'm joined in studio again by Michael Glover and Paul Gorst. Last week we discussed the merits of England's left-backs, but this week we'll be talking about goal line technology. Rugby, cricket and tennis have all recruited digital assistants, so why Michael Glover hasn't football?
Well, I think contentious decisions in football are something that's part of the game. It's something that brings a talking point to fans, and it's something for us to debate in the pub with your mates or wherever. And that's what we as football fans love to do. Ultimately, is debate the game and talk about it. And so why should we bring goal line technology in and be exact with everything when we don't really need to?
Paul Gorst, what's your take on that?
Well, my take is that it definitely should be implemented. You've only got to look at the Birmingham Portsmouth FA Cup clash from Saturday to see that Birmingham scored a goal and it was behind the line and the referee disallowed it, and it's cost them a place in the FA Cup semi-final. I think it boils down to Sepp Blatter, to be honest. He'd rather sit in his ivory tower discussing harebrained schemes such as abolishing the offside rule, and we'd end up with like a basketball score, wouldn't we, if that happened. Misogynist issues such as tightening the strips of women's football. I think he'd rather talk about nonsense like that rather than relevant issues which can improve the beautiful game, as we all like to call it.
We've already seen the introduction of 4 linesmen in many UEFA Cup games. Do you think that's helped or do you think that's hindered officials?
To be honest, I think it's laughable. I think that they're trying to keep warm more than anything else. You see them on the pitch when the action's down the other end of the field, and it just looks like they're trying to fill in at right back. Just like they want to get a piece of the action. They're sort of trying to meet the future forward thinkers halfway, but I think it just comes across as ridiculous, quite frankly.
Michael, do you think it retains the human aspect of the game if you add a couple of linesmen, extra officials?
No, well, I think it's stupid doing that. I think there was a game the other week where there was a penalty decision right in front of the guy's eyes, and he still didn't get it, and he completely missed it. So and they must be freezing as well. Those linesmen just stood there on the edge of the box doing nothing. Still got to wear the same kit as well. But going back to the goal line technology, I don't see how it's going to be implemented. I just can't see it. If picture this: there's a corner. The game's at 0-0 or 1-0 to one side, and there's a corner coming in for one side, and they send everyone up for the corner to try and score this goal that's going to equalise or win the game. And the ball bounces around near the goal line, and it gets cleared to the opposition side, and they've got a chance to score. They've got 3 players counter-attacking, and they've got a chance to score and win the game or equalise or whatever. But all the other team has to do is say that went over the line, and then the referee has to stop the game, whether it did or not. If it did, then fine, if they get a goal. But if it didn't, then it stopped the other team from getting a goal. So it's going the other way.
Do you feel a simple system, perhaps like the one Hawkeye used in cricket and tennis? Do you think a system like that would prevent such time delays, or?
No. Well, it still will be time delayed because you've seen the stuff on like Match of the Day. Sometimes it takes ages to decipher whether it's gone over the line or not. And to have players stood around for 5 minutes isn't feasible. And you look at rugby, and you say, well, yeah, that's clear cut whether it's been put down or not. But football is whether it's gone over the line or not. Whether the whole ball's gone over the line or not is too.
I think you've got an excellent point there about like a team could just say, oh, that's over the line, as their opponents are on the counter attack. I've never really thought about it like that, but I think at the end of the day it comes down to communication between the officials and the referee. He's got his linesmen, as they used to be called, and they need to talk to each other to decide, was that over the line.
But then it brings in again the human aspect of it. They've then got to make a decision on whether they need to make a decision.
Yeah, it does. It's like if there's an imbalance between the referees and his officials, that's when you could consult the Hawkeye, as it were. I think Hawkeye is such a simple system, but it's made a massive difference to tennis. It's just, is the ball over the line? This system will tell us, and you can't say fairer than that, can you?
Yeah, I also think if it is implemented and it's deemed successful or whatever, then where will it stop? You can't. People are going to want to carry on bringing it in and bring it in for offsides or whatever, and then all of a sudden you get to a stage where Stoke say that should have been our throw-in because we could score from that throw-in. So, you get down to a throw-in, that ball's gone out of play. It could easily be brought in for that as well. If you can bring it in for, if it's gone over the goal line, why can't it be brought in for going over the throw-in line?
I think with the fouls, it's sort of a grey area, isn't it? It's like the referee's opinion, was it a foul or did he win the ball? But when it's over the line, it's clear as day if the computer can prove it. If you see what I mean, whether it was or it wasn't.
Well, it's not. I don't think it is always clear cut. I mean, that Ridgewell one was clear cut the other day, but there's been other incidents where I remember on Match of the Day things happening, like they've been bringing in this 3D thing where they can swizzle it round and they've got to zoom in on the ball and they've got to zoom in on the line and they still can't decipher. And I can just picture players stood there and with a Lucozade bottle in their hand waiting for this. Waiting for this decision, and the fans sat there, and it just gets boring.
Paul, do you feel that football needs to swallow its pride a little bit? Are they scared to take the next step?
I do, yeah. I think they're stuck in the dark ages, to be honest. It seems scared to take the example that other sports have used. It's sort of like, we're football, we're the most popular, we're going to do this our way. And I think that's the wrong attitude to have when you're talking about right and wrong decisions, which is literally what it is. We all want to see the right decision. This Hawkeye on the goal line is the way forward.
How feasible is technology when we look at teams in the Championship and certainly lower down the other divisions who don't perhaps have the facilities to facilitate such technology? How difficult would it be to implement?
Well, I think Premier League teams have got to have a prerequisite of undersoil heating, and I think this goal line technology should be, you've got to have it to be in the Premier League. And teams that get promoted from the Championship, they'll have the funds to do that. But if you look down at the lower leagues, there's so many teams that are in debt and threat of administration and all that. That's when it does become a problem. Who can afford it? Who can't? That's when it becomes a bit of a difficult issue. But I think certainly top flight teams should definitely have it.
You get teams coming up from the Championship though, and then you say you've got to spend part of your money on funding something that you might not even want, something that might eventually get you relegated again. Last game of the season, it might make a decision, turn a decision against them, which gets them relegated, and to have to fund that yourself, I don't know whether that's right or not.
Do you risk creating further divisions between sort of the top flight and lower sections of football if we introduce technology?
Yeah, the gap is already big enough in sort of the fun financial side. The gap is huge, and the quality of football side, and then it's like you're extending the bridge. It's like you're building the bridge even further apart from the Championship and the Premiership, when a lot of the talk is trying to shorten that gap.
Well, I'm sure this is a debate that'll continue to rumble, but that's all we have time for this week. Thanks again to my guests, Paul Gorst and Michael Glover. Make sure you tune again in next week for the next instalment of The Big Debate.